Hi, I'm Ethan. I love muzzleloading. Today we're going to southern Indiana, Vilonia, Indiana, in fact, for the 53rd annual Wes Hartley Memorial Over-the-Log muzzleloading match. This match started in 1969 and coincides with the town festival Fort Vilonia Days, celebrating the town of Vilonia's history here in Indiana. While the muzzleloaders at this match are restricted to 14 pounds and under, you're going to see muzzleloaders really of all shapes and sizes competing in this match. You'll have the traditional flint and percussion sidelock muzzleloaders. You also see a traditional side slapper percussion muzzleloader, but I think a favorite among chunk and over-the-log shooters, like we see at these matches, are the traditional underhammer percussion muzzleloader action. These provide a really nice direct ignition that a lot of these competitive shooters are looking for. Now, if you're unfamiliar with an over-the-log or a chunk shoot like this one, it might seem a little weird what you're seeing here on the camera. So I kind of want to walk you through what this match is and how it's structured and what makes it different from the other muzzleloading matches that you might be familiar with. A traditional over-the-log match like this one is shot with 10 shots in 10 relays, meaning you're only shooting one shot per relay. The target is set at 60 yards and competitors are shooting for the tightest group that they can. Now, I know that many times in competitive muzzleloading we're always shooting for the tightest group possible, but the chunk shooters and the over-the-log shooters like we're seeing here today are kind of doing it, I think, to the next level. So you can see here we have the targets that are posted at 60 yards. But you'll notice as competitors are replacing their targets for the relay, they're not replacing the main target that you can actually see from the firing line. Over-the-log matches are shot at a sighter that is posted at 60 yards. Before the scored shooting starts for the day, shooters will shoot at their sighter and establish their group for the day. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're shooting for the center of their sighter. Some of these muzzleloaders will be kind of offset to a particular point on their sighter board that's easier for them to distinguish from the line. Different shooters will have different sighters. You'll see some X's, some T's, some like literal sight pictures for people to line up their sights, and you'll see some traditional bullseyes as well. This is just an aiming point of reference and doesn't necessarily, tell us where they're actually going to be shooting for the match. Now we're going to get a little trickier here because each target for score is printed out on a smaller piece of paper that is placed behind the sighter with the X lined up at the center of their sighter group to give shooters the best chance of lining up their shots as close to the center of that X as possible. During each relay, each shooter takes one shot at their sighter and ideally the target behind it. And then when everybody's done, the targets are retrieved by each shooter and brought in to score. Targets are scored with calipers measuring from the center X of the target to the center of the punched round ball hole in the target. This kind of muzzleloading match can seem a little complicated, but I assure you that the folks that put on the Wes Hartley match make it more than friendly and accommodating for any new shooter out there looking to try out this style of muzzleloader shooting. Over-the-log and chunk shooting is really, I think, kind of region specific for the United States, but it's a really neat niche of muzzleloading that I really enjoy. I think it kind of harkens back to a lot of the early days of modern muzzleloading in the early 1900s and kind of represents what launched us into kind of the competitive muzzleloading era that we saw in the mid to late 1900s. Sounds really far away when I say it like that, but a lot of us lived through that. It's not all that far off, really. A lot of your grandparents and their friends possibly participated in a match like this. Overall, the adult best X shot was shot by Marvin Kemper with a score of .088. Next we had Colton Fleetwood, .094. And then Bill Wright coming in third on the adult best X at .105. The adult aggregate was won by Tom Cooley with a score of 7.086. Second was Bill Woning, 7.090. And third came Colton Fleetwood, 7.823. The junior best X was shot by Sam DeSale. Second was Cameron Cooley, and third was Cody Dean. The junior aggregate was won by Sam DeSale. Second was Cameron Cooley, and third place was Carson Cooley. It was neat talking with match director Colton Fleetwood and some of the competitors in between relays and swabbing shots at this match. They had a total of 45 competitors this year, which was the most anybody could remember since the early 90s, kind of reflecting what I've been talking about a lot, about the interest and the growth that we're seeing in the muzzleloading world now. And it's just neat to see it come from kind of data and paper and reflected in a small town muzzleloading match like this one. Out of those 45 competitors, 9 of them were junior competitors. I think that means under the age of 16, which is really exciting. That was more than last year when I visited the match, and I hope to see that continue as more folks in the area of Bologna get their muzzleloaders out and come have some fun with some local small town history. The Wes Hartley match, I think, is the definition of small town America. You have a muzzleloading match connected with a small town festival, celebrating a really small town's history, and to see this town just explode and grow, not only for the muzzleloading match, but to see the match grow alongside the festival is super exciting and really represents the community and unity that we need right now as muzzleloading enthusiasts, as Americans, and I think as humans as a whole. With some of the trials and tribulations that everybody has seen this year, I think we can all look towards the Wes Hartley match and maybe consider, if you're out there and you have a venue and you have the capability, maybe consider trying to host a muzzleloading match like this one in your local area. I think you can do a lot of good for the sport and for your community and the world at large, you know, kind of taking action and seeing what you can do to get some more people out there. That's all I have for you today. I'd like to thank Colton Fleetwood and the other match directors that put on the Wes Hartley Memorial match for inviting me down to come film and hang out. It's always a good time to come down and hang out with muzzleloading enthusiasts. It's been a family tradition to go spend a weekend with muzzleloading enthusiasts for as long as I can remember, and it's been a lot of fun continuing that here with I Love Muzzleloading to further promote and share what I love about muzzleloading and what you love about muzzleloading too. If there's anything out there in the muzzleloading world that you'd like me to report on, feel free to shoot it over to me at ilovemuzzleloading@gmail.com. Happy to publish it on the website. Even if you don't have something you want to say or you want me to promote or anything, you know, if you want to just drop me a line and talk about muzzleloading, I'm more than happy to discuss anything related to muzzleloading that I'm doing here or that you're doing. You know, I'm more than willing to share everything that I know about this to help anybody grow a local club or, you know, an event or something that you're putting on that you want to see continue. If you want to learn more about this or anything else related to muzzleloading, please visit ilovemuzzleloading.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.